Well, hello there, friends. It's Wayne Polson. It's been a little while, hasn't it? I was on a roll there for a few video releases, but things slowed down just a little bit. About a week and a half ago, on the 20th, I believe it was, I was doing a little bit of tree work and had my arborist saw, which is a top handle saw, which there's a big debate in the tree care community about whether or not it's safe to use those one-handed. They're made to be used with two hands, but it's also very convenient to just grab that top handle and reach out and cut stuff, you know, at arm's length. So I want to give you a little bit of a warning. I'm going to put up here in the corner, one of these corners, I'm not sure where, maybe I'll move over this way and I'll put it over there. How's that? So I'm going to put some video up here, footage of what happened on this particular morning when I was working with my top handle saw using one hand. Now, I'm not a proponent or a opponent of either theory. I just think that you're working with a dangerous tool no matter what. And whether you're using two hands or four hands or 18 hands or just a pinky, you are exposing yourself to risk. So I don't know what else to say about that. And now, you know, companies can make their policies and say, you know, this is going to be our safety standard, and you have to abide by that. If not, you're fired. I mean, that's cool. They can do what they want to do. But as an individual, you know, I'm just going to say the jury's still out as far as I'm concerned on whether or not it's bad practice to use one hand with a top handle saw. Now, those of you who don't know what a top handle saw is, this is what a top handle saw is right here. It's referred to as an arborist saw. Typically what will happen is tree care workers will take this saw up into the tree with them. It's a lot lighter than, you know, a conventional saw, and it's very light, easy to use, and very tempting to use with one hand in a lot of situations. All right, so now that you know what a top handle saw is, and you know that on the 20th I was using one of those, I'm going to put some video up here to show you what happened. Now, if you're a little squeamish, just kind of move your eyes toward me and don't look at that over there, okay? I'm sorry, but I want people to know the risks and the dangers involved with using these saws, and I was very lucky in this case. I was working on a tree, and I had one hand with my saw like this, cutting a branch sort of just above eye level, which again, some people say that that's not a safe practice either. Maybe it's not, I don't know. Again, I'm not going to make a case on either side. But I was cutting a branch here, and I made the cut just to weaken the branch, to let it fold over. I took my finger off the accelerator and I brought the saw down. When I did, I reached over with my left hand, and the tip of my saw was still here. And on that particular day, I was doing something I normally don't do, and I was wearing a long sleeve shirt. And the tip of my saw caught the shirt. As you can see here, I'm wearing just the sleeve part of it. It caught the sleeve, and it just sucked the decelerating chain right up into my arm. And here is the damage that you can see took place. Now, Susie and I decided, after assessing the damage there, that for one, it wasn't painful. Number two, it wasn't bleeding profusely. And number three, I had full dexterity. I could move my wrist, my hand in any direction, my fingers, my thumb, everything was working. There was no blood, very little blood. I mean, there was a little bit of evidence of initial bleeding here, but then what we decided to do was, instead of ending our day there, it was in the morning, we would go ahead and just put a wrap on it, and we ended up using a Bartlett in this case, but we use these buffs. I use these buffs all the time for my head. It absorbs a lot of the perspiration, but we took a clean one of these, wrapped it around the wound like that, and then I took a piece of webbing, a webbing strap like this, nylon tubular webbing, and we tied it around the wound, and we created pressure against the wound like that. And that worked. I was able to finish the job I was working on at the time. I was able to finish that and didn't have any issues at all. When we were done, we headed to the hospital, and the hospital took care of us. So, so folks, I was lucky. It was a wake-up call for me. I'm not trying to diminish the seriousness at all. I'm actually trying to highlight it. This is what's left today. As you can see right there, it's pretty well healed. Just got one little area in the very end here that is just scabbed over. But folks, I'm very fortunate that it wasn't any deeper. Had it been 1/8 of an inch, maybe 1/4 of an inch deeper, I would have cut a tendon or two and would have cut an artery, and that would have required surgery, and I wouldn't be using this hand as I am today. So very lucky. It was a wake-up call. Just a reminder that, folks, you can't be overconfident. You can't just let yourself go. You can't sit on your laurels when you're working with power tools of any kind, whether it's a table saw, any kind of a power tool that has a sharp rotating or reciprocating blade to it. You know, a drill can be very dangerous. Grinders, and just so many things, as I mentioned. So you can't be overconfident, but you got to have confidence in what you're doing, and you have to evaluate what your risks are when you're doing anything, and you can't be in a hurry. I probably was in a hurry. I could have waited a little longer before I reached up to grab that branch, but I didn't. So lesson learned here is be patient. Don't be in a hurry. Don't rely solely on your extreme confidence level. Sometimes when you are feeling the greatest is when bad things happen. So so be careful out there, folks. That's all I really have to say. I'm sorry that I had to kind of make your stomachs upset a little bit, but I want you all to see the gravity of this kind of an incident, and I also want you to know how lucky I was to escape with the minimal amount of injury I did there. So, folks, thanks for watching this video. I'm going to cut it out here. As always, folks, I'm going to stress the need for us to be kind in this insane world we're living in right now. The one thing that will conquer all of this insanity is just acts of kindness coming from people in your community, in my community. So do something. Be creative. How can you, without becoming overbearing in someone's life, how can you express kindness to somebody? Whether you like them or not, whether you love them or not, express kindness to those people, folks. Love always wins, so practice love. I'll see you in the next video. Over and out.